how to communicate that someone's leaving to the fans, assure them that we're not gonna break up, we're not gonna have like this weird change in sound, this isn't the end of Lola Amore. I think that's always very hard on us.
What's up, people? Welcome back to Feature Friday Plus. Today we're joined by a band that has taken the OPM scene by a storm. This is Lola Amour. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Hello everyone! Hi!
We were just talking off camera, and I'll say what I said to you guys just then. We've been really looking forward to this because bands to us mean a ton, because it is the epitome of live performing, and not only in the Filipino music scene but in other world scenes, in other industries. I think live performing should always be number one and studio music should be number two. In your case, I don't think many people realize the level of experience and the level of years that you guys have on your shoulders already. So I'd love to start right from the beginning, if we can, on taking us through the whole journey of how Lola Amour came, because we were very damn impressed the first time we guys saw you. So I'd love to know how everything came to be.
All right, so we are on our 8th year right now as a band, and we started back in 2016. Yeah, does that mean 8 years? Or maybe ninth year.
Okay.
No, 8 years. This is our 8th year.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah. My math's correct. Anyways, we used to be high school friends, the original lineup. So there are some people who left, and then there's some people who joined. So from the original lineup, right now on screen would be me and Zoe. Back in high school, we were two different bands. Okay, it's gonna take a bit of explaining, but
Yeah, go ahead.
both used to be 4-piece bands. So guitar, bass, drums, and vocals. Sometimes vocals that were playing guitar. But when we combined, that was because we realized that their drummer and my bassist could play trumpet and saxophone. So if you combine both bands, it all adds up. It still becomes a standard drums, vocals, keyboards, guitars, and 2 horns and bass. So it still made sense.
Totally.
Yeah, and at the start we were just jamming, just performing in actually not even performing. We just joined this contest I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Wonderland. It's our biggest.
Yes.
The festival.
I think I read that you guys won Rookie Group of the Year in 2017, and I think this is your breakthrough, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was Wonderland 2017, but the contest was in 2016. Every year they hold a contest where it's like a battle of the bands, and then the winner gets to play in the festival. Actually, before that, we were just like having fun, just jamming, and we tried out this contest. And then when we won, we were like, oh shit, we're really bad.
Yeah.
Why are people emailing us asking us if we can play? Oh shit. Ever since then, we just took it wherever the band took us, and then we just took it. There was a time we weren't taking it seriously. We would just play, and then we would play for like maybe
Random bars. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like for almost free. Like how much is 4K? That would be like $80. $80 for 8 people, right? So we get
60
$10
pounds,
each.
something like that. 60 euros or something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the conversion, Zoe.
Yeah.
Zoe used to be an FX trader for a bank.
Oh,
so
there we
knows
go.
his stuff.
Yeah.
We would get paid $10 each, but it would take $12 to get to the venue, so we would lose money performing.
But you do it for the art. You do it for the love of music. That's what you're
Yeah, honestly, it was fun. It was so much fun. It wasn't so serious. It was really like if people clap, we were like, oh, they like the song. We're so happy.
All right, so how old were you by then? So if you came straight out of high school, you guys were high school friends. How old were you around 2017 then?
I think
21.
21.
Right.
This one did.
Right.
2021, yeah.
Well, we noticed in the Philippines, like the bar scene, it happens here in London as well. You have a ton of bands that obviously do here. We call them pubs, but it's basically the same bar scene. And it is true. A ton of them at the beginning, it's really that rough. Where the positive is that it's not very serious, and you get to really do it for the love of the art. Obviously, the negative bit is that you're basically not even making any money. You're losing everything to get applauded by 8 people. Would you say, what do you think was was the
It's
biggest?
true though.
Yeah, what do you think was the biggest change? When did you start to notice a bit of a change from going from bars, making £10 a head, to sort of evolving as what you guys have become today?
By the way, if you're going to talk about the early years, I'm the only one who's going to be talking, just me and Zoe, because the other two they came in 2 years ago. I don't think it changed like not even over a year. It changed like over years of like
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just always
We
minded
just
not just the music part, but also like the business side of it. It was fun. Like at least for me, I was part of the business arm of the band. We just watched our audiences, responded to them. We got our manager Mika, who helped us, like get, like fix us as a band.
yeah, I was just saying that we just kept going. Like we just kept accepting all the events, all the gigs that were coming out of our way. So we're like, yeah, I guess we can
Yeah.
take.
Yeah,
Right.
that's actually really dope because in terms of a foundation for a band, you actually need that friction on stage. And I think that's one of the things that initially it took us by a surprise when we reviewed your live performances, because I think the first thing that we ever got to see you guys in was a live performance, and we were like, my god, these guys have years on them, and you could tell because it's the understanding and the crowd control, the energy efficiency on stage.
We call it performing maturity.
Yes.
It's like as a band, you guys seem to have a level of maturity. And even for the members that just, perhaps joined a few years ago, I presume, I'd love to hear from all of your stories individually also on what your musical journeys were like. But there seems to be a level of cohesiveness, which I think, unfortunately, only comes through years of hardships, years of small bars, years of bigger places, and then ginormous festivals. Were you guys always into music when you were children? And I'd love to hear from all members here. Or did you ever know that this was sort of a thing that you wanted to do?
I think my musical journey started in high school. I listened to a lot of like 90s, 80s rock. It all started when I saw one of our former bandmates do an improvised solo to a backing track. I was like, what?
Oh.
What do you mean? You just feel it out. I was like, okay, I want to learn. I want to learn. Then I think that's it. And in our school, where Zoe and I and Jeff and I came from, bands were a thing. So there was a battle of the bands yearly, and people would look forward to it. Like 600 people would watch, stuff like that.
Wow, cool.
It was, it was fun. It was like something we would look forward to every year. So that's the extent, I guess, of our musical, like at least live music journey.
Anyone else would like to share their own musical journey? More than happy to hear it.
I started in high school. I was I was like the head of the choir. I basically played the piano and arranged songs for the choir. But this choir was also like the church choir.
Right.
So yeah, so I was teaching them mass songs, but all I listened to at the time was pop music and EDM and shit. So
All
I started
right.
teaching the choir. I started making arrangements for like pop songs, and then I was really enjoying it, and the choir was enjoying it as well. And then we'd perform those in our theater in school, and then I was like, damn, I'm kind of good at this arranging thing. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll continue my journey with music. I never did a band thing until this band actually, but I love music, so I did other things, more of composition and stuff, but this was my first thing with a band.
So then,
And how did you get introduced into Lola Amour then?
That's me.
That is a funny story. Yes.
It's not a very inspiring story.
Oh,
Because back in college, we had a mutual friend, David and I. And that mutual friend was the three of us were very into Dota 2.
Oh.
Yeah, we would skip school to play Dota 2. We would also spend 12 hours and
oh my god.
yeah, 12 hours playing in a computer shop. I don't know if you guys have computer shops there, but yeah, we would do that. And then when we met, David was already just waiting for his
School to start. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was-
So I
used to live
took I took music school in Boston, and then
Oh, wow.
I came anyway. Yeah.
And then we used to have a keyboardist who was Korean, but because of the pandemic, he had to move back to South Korea.
No.
Yeah, and then he already
And
got
because of the
life there.
pandemic, yeah, because of the pandemic, I had to go back home.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, of
So
course.
I went back
Oh, I
here.
see.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
like perfect timing, I guess. Then
Yeah.
told me to play in one gig. After maybe 2 gigs, they asked me to join the band, and I said, okay.
Sure, man.
Yeah, then
Uh,
the rest is like, yeah.
Well, I'm damn glad you did, because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, how cool.
We do have like internet. I mean, they're not really a thing here in the UK. Like
Internet
internet cafes, they disappeared after many years, like maybe post 2010. But where we're originally from in South
In
America,
Venezuela.
internet cafes are the shit.
Yeah, they're the
Um,
thing, man.
That's how you meet everyone, dude.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I'm so happy you get the reference.
yeah, of course.
Totally,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah, we're glad.
Yeah. I'm sure you have like an image in your head of like
Oh, totally, 100%.
Also, there was like, I even go way back. Like, I don't know how old you guys are, but there was a point where we had to put quarters, like coins, into this machine to get the internet going, and it would make this really weird sound the whole time. The whole, I don't know how old you guys are, but yeah, that's.
Is
I
that-
remember
is that
those
dial-up?
internet cafes.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
dial-up? Yeah, dial-up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I can't relate to that in my years, which I think is similar to yours. I would just give like, you know, a couple of dollars to the shop clerk, and then here's for 3 hours, or here's for 10 hours, mate. Do not tell my mom I'm here.
10 hours. 10 hours. That's the way to go.
But also, by the way, Jeffrey, if you'd like to share your musical journey, I'll be more than happy to hear it also.
Contrary to how Pio and Zoe first started, I was not part of a band. Actually, in high school, we had this program which is like a symphonic band, so it's more of a classical setup, and I started there when I was in grade school.
Okay.
Back in grade school, and I was playing a different instrument basically, and I sort of went like, oh, okay, kind of like what I'm doing, and I'm gonna continue it up. Same as David, I'm gonna continue it up to college. So I went to music school for college in a completely different instrument
Oh,
compared to what I play right now. So I used to,
instrument, man.
yeah, I used to play. Oh well, I majored in clarinet. And,
Uh-huh.
yeah, so when they were looking for replacement, I was like, oh, I know how to play sax. And that's how I
right.
So there is quite a vast, I guess, theoretical music background in the whole band then, which I think explains a lot of the arrangements that you guys make, you know, polyrhythms and a ton of different modes that you guys use and genres that you guys mix. So it kind of makes sense that
There's a classical background to all of this.
Yeah, because I always wondered, like, how the fuck are they coming up with this stuff? You know, but it makes sense that you guys have such vast, I guess, both theoretical and practical musical backgrounds. Talking about this, actually, can we do a small breakdown on how you guys, because one of our favorite songs, and I think for a lot of people as well, is not only Falling, but Raining in Manila. It's like, I bloody love that song.
It's a catchy track.
I'd love to hear like a breakdown on how that track came to be, how the arrangements came to be, and obviously if we can do like a tiny bit of a lyric breakdown, I'd love that from you guys.
So we got inspired, me and Rafi, our drummer, we got inspired by a track, a Japanese city pop track from like the 70s or 80s called Sparkle by Tatsuro Yamashita. And then I was like, Rafi, we have to write a song like this. And I also told Jeff, because like there's always like a sax solo that's like screaming and shit. Anyway, yeah, so I started writing a song. I started writing the lyrics, but not the lyrics. I started writing the underlying music. Then we tried out lyrics with Raymond, our bass player.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then shout out to Ray.
It was in English.
Oh.
And it wasn't really fitting that well. And then I told Pio the background of city pop, where it's all about, you know, loneliness and sadness, but like the underneath you're like dancing.
Yeah.
So and then Pio wrote like really good lyrics that like fit really well. I think he can explain more on his side.
Okay, yeah, sure. So like what David said was that we were inspired by a city pop song, right? And then, you know, like seeing how much they really wanted to make a city pop song, I wanted to, you know, to like, you know, do it justice.
Yeah.
So like David told me about the background of city pop. So it was like a genre that like boomed in the 80s which
Mhm.
also coincided with like the economic boom in Japan. So like what happens when, economic boom, a lot of people from the provinces, they move into the bigger cities, right? So I think the social consciousness, I guess, of the people consuming music and making music at that time was, a lot of loneliness and drama and, like just what it feels like to be moving into a city and leaving everyone behind. When Raymond first wrote the lyrics, um, I wouldn't say red flags, but I saw some stuff that were like, okay, I want to change this, I want to change that. Because first of all, when you listen to a city pop song, or at least a popular one that reaches, us, it would be all Japanese except for some part in the chorus.
Mhm.
Like one line
Correct.
is in English, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
they continue singing their sad stuff.
Yeah.
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 And that's the one line that you sing with your whole heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that one, I asked him to maybe revise it and then write something that has like an English line. And then so the line "Raining in Manila" actually came from him.
Right.
And then I took over and overhauled the rest of the song. I don't know if it would make any sense to like directly translate every line, but the song is actually about us, or like my experience with the pandemic. So a little background, I came from, graduating college. I graduated college in the pandemic actually.
Oh,
So
wow.
so at that time, it was a lot, yeah, just a lot of loneliness also, because all of my friends, I had a group of friends, we were 15, and then when the pandemic hit, a lot of them left the
Yeah.
Philippines to like pursue masters in, for some reason, a lot of people went to Spain, but
Oh,
some also
wow.
went to the
Interesting.
US. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to explain that. But yeah, that was something I was experiencing. And then to relate it to the city pop concept, people moving to the Philippines to seek better opportunities isn't isn't a thing. It's not a common thing. People
Right.
don't really go to us to pursue better opportunities. What happens is we leave, right? We go. I'm sure you guys know a lot of Filipinos there in London, right?
Mhm.
We're everywhere because a lot of us want to leave. But so to appropriate the city pop concept to something more Filipino, I wrote about that. I
Right.
wrote about the feeling of like your friends moving to another place, people that you used to spend every day with, like have all these like nights out and like get drunk and then like sit somewhere in a field and then like talk about life. That was all gone for me.
Yeah.
So one of the most important lines, I guess, in the song is "Kamusta ka na?" I'll just say it in English. Like, how are you? You don't have to answer me. I just hope that the fire in your eyes hasn't faded.
Right.
I hope you're still the same person that left there.
Mm.
So that's like the overarching feeling. Like, I miss you. I hope you're doing good, but I miss you guys, and yeah, I hope you're still as great as when you left us. Something like that. Yeah.
It's interesting, Pio, because with Japanese city pop, you're obviously reminding that the actual meaning behind a lot of city pop songs is actually quite a tender one, quite a sad one, quite a completely juxtaposed to the city pop groove in the drums and the fastness of it and sort of the feel of it that makes you feel like it's actually, whoa, what an awesome song. But in reality, it's so sad. I genuinely think that encapsulates the feeling of having to leave or having to be separated from your friends, because it's a negative emotion because obviously there's loneliness, but it's weirdly positive because they're seeking opportunities. They're gonna realize their dreams. So it's very oxymoronic in that sense where it's really bad, but
Yes.
it's also, I shouldn't feel that bad because I love these people.
And they're looking for something better out there. But yeah, it's
And I think it was the brass section
yes.
in that song that really like encapsulates that feeling. You pointed at me. Am I correct or wrong?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. You're right. We agree.
And I was pointing at Jeff.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been raining in Manila, hindi ka ba nilalamig?
Honestly, when it comes to the brass section of the arrangements of a lot of your songs, which I think it's one of the most recognizable sounds that you guys have as a band, does that come from you, David, or does Jeffrey and the rest of the brass section come up with their own arrangements?
I think it's more equal. I think they come up with their ideas, and
Right.
then usually I fix the ideas.
Right.
I make them make sense, but
Yeah.
I make it a point for them to, you know, do whatever they want, and then I'll make it work.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so they're free to do whatever, but I'll cut out some parts, but I'll make sure that the, you know, what they want is still there. That's my goal.
Right.
Very cool.
Well, so I mean, fantastic. Thank you so much for breaking it down like that. I think it clarifies a ton of things, and also I think it will give a lot more meaning for perhaps for those that didn't know that. You're coming up really close to your album release, which what an exciting time.
First debut album. Come on.
So many years of experience, so many songs, so many experiences, and I think I have to applaud you lads for sticking through, and regardless of what markets say, we were just talking to your manager, and regardless of what industries believe and think, I think having a body of work is not only super important for branding and the whole business bollocks, but also as artists to have a body of work that represents you guys in terms of perhaps all the 8 years of experiences can be put together into this album. Take me through what the making of the album was like.
Yes.
Why it has taken such a long time. Thoughts on it now, without spoiling too much.
Actually, we wanted to make an album back in 2019. We were actually in the process of recording it already. It sounded so bad compared to now, but you know, we were younger, yeah, less experience, and yeah. Actually, also a lot of the old members were very casual musicians. So when they got swapped out by, you know, these two professional musicians, a lot of stuff changed too. So that's one reason why our sound changed. But back to the album. We were writing it in 2019. We were already recording it in 2020. March 2020.
Okay.
So like in the middle of recording, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Yeah, and the pandemic did so much. So as I said a while ago, our keyboardist, he left. He had to go back to Korea, and then he built a life there, so he couldn't come back. So we acquired David, and then two of our old members also left. Our drummer, our saxophonist. Yeah, so those are the ones from my side of the band. So I'm the only one remaining from the original.
Wow.
So because those people left, we had to, you know, like adjust to each other. Of course, there was a time that, you know, David was learning how to like fit into like the sound we were producing, I guess, and Jeff also. So I think it took a long time, but it came at the right time when we were very ready and confident, and you know, like we knew what we were doing. And coming off of Raining in Manila, we had the platform to actually release a body of work that people will, you know, pay attention to at the least.
Do you have a concept for the album, or is it a songs on the shelf that you guys have had for a long time and are kind of like reimagining, or is this specifically written for the album itself?
Our whole concept for the album right now is playground. So it's our playground for like, not like literally a playground, but there was a lot of experimentation and, you know, like I guess opening up horizons like musically for us. So sounds that our fans have never heard before. You know, like some people want to stay on brand and produce music that kind of sounds like not too far from what they usually sound like. But I think it works for us because if you've listened to our current discography, none of the songs sound the same, right? They're all
That's right.
Yeah, so whenever someone asks us what our genre is, we don't know the answer because we just keep making what we want to make. Yeah, so this album is a lot of experimentation, a lot of new genres for us, a lot of new sounds, a lot of techniques that were, you know, like band-aids for stuff that didn't work out, but then it sounded better than what was, you know, there before.
There's a song where Pio's rapping. There's a song where there's a gospel choir.
Oh,
There's
nice.
a song where there's like 10 saxophones playing at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a weird mix of songs in the album, but I think I can say that we're all proud of like the output. It's weird, but we like it.
You know that whole mentality of like, oh, you should stay on brand, and other people, industry people and stuff like, oh, maybe we should stick to one thing. I genuinely think like, obviously that's a good thing, but I feel like it dampens the artist in all of you, because there is a
yearn. You guys are musicians. You guys are artists. Like music runs through your veins. So it's like there is a yearn to make things that you've never made before.
Yeah,
There is
experiment with new sounds and come up with complexities that only you can understand.
and I genuinely feel like real magic lands like it's right there.
Well, actually, there is a clip from David Bowie, I don't know, where he talks about like his experimentation process for every album. And he said something along the lines of, if you are feeling really out of your own comfort zone, then you're treading in magic territory, because that's where something really exciting, something new arises.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's like I'm actually, as a fan, as a viewer, as a reviewer, I'm
So excited.
very glad to hear that, because it would have been so much easier for any other artist to just be like, oh well, we know, let's just keep doing this and let's not expand their own horizons as musicians, because I think you're thinking long term, not just short term. It means the evolution also of Lola Amour. This means the evolution of Pio, Jeff, Zoe, David. Not just the evolution of, or not just, what do you call it? Stagnant.
A product. Yeah, a product that knows how to fall into a formula.
Honestly, if you just think about it this way, like, do you want to make the same thing again? That's not fun, right? I mean, if you've done it before, what are you? I guess what are you learning? It's not a. I mean, we already play the same Raining in Manila 4 times a week. Like, do we want to make another song that sounds like Raining in Manila 4 times a week? I think a lot of people give us too much credit for our, like, the way we conduct the band, but there are a lot of outside factors that really affect it. Because, like, for the longest time, all of us had day jobs. Not all of us now, but for the longest time, all of us had day jobs, and that really changes the way you think about music. Like, for us to be able to have that safety net and think that, okay, my life is not on the line, we are more comfortable to, like, not chase trends, and then, not to cling on to what made us, like, popular with, like, Raining in Manila, or even Fallen before that, or even some of our earlier songs, right? So there's that. People think that, oh, they stuck to, they really just follow their heart. That's true, but it also includes external pressures.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And if I can add, the great thing about, like, all of us in the band is that, well, great and bad, we're all enablers of each other's intrusive thoughts. Like, we play weird stuff, and then someone's like, "Oh, I love that. Keep doing that." And then you don't like it, then they're still like, "Yeah, please keep doing that." So, like, a lot of times that happens, and then I think that's where some of the magic comes from. It's like a weird idea, but you don't like it, but everyone else likes it, so you keep doing it, and it's like something new.
I think it's the best bit of a band, mate. That's
Generally, riffing off of each other's the craziness, that's the best.
it's the best.
Raining in Manila, the slow down part was a joke at the start.
Yeah.
It was
It's the best part of the song.
Jeff, you could tell the story. Yeah.
I was still in the process of making the solo, and everyone, it was break. Like, I remember it being like a break time. Like, okay, let's eat or something. I was still in the room. I was just trying to formulate a solo, and then I was really tired, and then I just ended up slowing it down, slower and slower. And then I think it was Raymond who was like, "Keep it."
Yes.
That's the one. Keep it.
And I was like, huh? How are we going to bring it back? And then that's how we formulated a transition, also going back to its original tempo. So it was originally just a joke, but they ended up, why are we keeping this in?
Are you sure about this?
The more we play the song, the slower and slower it gets. Like, now compared to, like, a year ago, it's so much slower. Right?
Yeah, when we play it live.
Yeah.
Like Pio was saying, it's like you guys must be playing both Falling and Raining in Manila, because it's obviously some of the most popular work, a ton in live shows.
My God, yes.
So I guess that's one way to keep it fun.
Keep it entertaining.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'd love to know a little bit about what you guys think are your sort of your best moments. It could be live or your best memories, and then I'd love to know also what you think were the most difficult times.
Let's disqualify the pandemic, because that's everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Time. Yeah.
It's difficult for everyone, so.
Yeah. Music was not. It was not a good time for music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good time for the world.
Yeah. Sorry.
For anything.
No, but it's funny you mentioned that. I genuinely think, like, musicians suffered a ton.
So much.
during the pandemic worldwide. Musicians, actors.
Any creatives, they really took a turn.
We
there.
really saw it here in London, where it was like, oh shit, if there's no bars to play at, how is this guy
Gonna live.
how's this guy living? If there is no clubs, how's this guy making money? If there's no shows, how is this guy sell tickets? And then you're like, but that's not also just him. What about his manager? And then what about the people that put the lights on? It was like a really like
Darkest times for the band. We can start with that. So
oh bloody hell, you want to start dark? Okay.
Go on.
so we can end this topic with a happier
Okay,
note.
good thinking.
Times. I guess it's whenever we have a member who leaves.
Yeah.
Because it's always hard. We never part ways with a member on bad terms. It's not a thing in this band, honestly. But it's always harder because you have to one thing you should know about Lola Amore is we care a lot about our fans. Like they've been a priority ever since we started. And we're friends with our fans. Like just recently, 2 weeks ago, we held a listening party for the album, and we invited all the fans who have been there for a long time, or all the active fans. No
great.
charge, free drinks, everything. We just hung out with them, played games and
Nice.
stuff. But yeah, so how to communicate that someone's leaving to the fans, assure them that we're not gonna break up, we're not gonna have like this weird change in sound. This isn't the end of Lola Amore. I think that's always very hard on us. And adjusting also, like on stage, having some like David's adjustment period, Jeff's adjustment period, a lot of stuff like that. I think that's one. I don't know if the others have darker moments on their mind.
That's pretty dark.
That's
That's dark.
That's pretty spot on.
That tops it, I think.
So what about the good moments? The perhaps the most memorable moments so far for Lola Amour, would you say?
I have some, but I feel like I've been yapping too much.
I am yapping,
This is the whole point of a podcast, Pio.
They always call me out for yapping too much, man.
Nah, you're not yapping, bro. You're doing great. You're doing
Yap
great.
enough.
Okay, I'll speak first. High
Yap.
end or high part of the band. I think the a really good part of being in the band, or like a really good moment of the band, was when Raining in Manila hit #1 in the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun night.
That was
Yeah.
it was like we were having a gig in in some place, and
In a
it was
pub.
for in a pub.
Yeah.
In a pub.
What?
And
Yeah, we still play sometimes because that's the only place
Yeah.
where we can see our core fans. Yeah.
Right.
That night you had the #1 and you were just performing. You didn't know.
We're about to
no,
perform.
we didn't
We
even
were about to
yet.
perform.
My God, what a buzz!
Funny enough, that gig was supposed to be like, Raining in Manila 1 month anniversary, right?
Yeah.
It was a thank you show for the people
Thank you
who
show.
supported the performance.
And then backstage, we were like, a performer before us was on stage, and then we just started shouting at like backstage.
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
a
because
big moment.
it just hit #1.
Oh my,
Pretty good.
dude.
Yeah.
And
What
I
I would have paid to be in that show,
My
watching that
God.
after you guys reach #1, the show
my
after that.
God, it must have been a buzz. And not only that, but I actually read when I was doing some research about you guys that it reached #1 billboards also internationally. Like you had a really big pool of numbers for like 24 hours, something crazy like that.
Insane.
That was actually one of the
Guys.
things I wanted to mention. Like one of the happy moments for me is like I told you that the song is about people who left, right? There's a term we use here in the Philippines called OFWs, overseas Filipino workers. So
Yes.
Okay.
it reached them so hard that they listened to the song enough for it to chart in other countries. So
Yeah.
if you look at the numbers, it charted in places where a lot of us, like a lot of Filipinos, migrate to. So there's Dubai, there's
Right.
New Zealand, there's Canada, Singapore. Where else did it chart? But yeah, those places where people, Australia also, I think it made the chart there, UAE. But yeah, I think that was a proud moment for us. I I don't know if that's record breaking, but it feels record breaking.
No,
Indeed.
totally.
What the hell?
Absolutely.
Bro is just dropping like, yeah, we just charted in
facts.
Australia, New Zealand, in the UAE. Like, it's like, just, that's huge, dude. That's
It's a record,
ginormous.
bro. That's a record. Break it.
And if I can add, I remember because I was the one who broke the news that we got
Oh,
number
nice.
one. Yeah, I was checking the artist Spotify, and then
Yeah.
I told Mika, and then she started screaming, and then everyone started screaming, even the bands backstage. And then we were louder than the band that was playing.
Oh.
And we felt super bad that we were just screaming while another band was playing. They were like, "Oh shit, so sorry."
No, I'm sure they understood when you announced it on
no-
stage, though. I'd be like,
number one is like, dude, that's like, that will always be edged on history by you guys.
correct. That's
no one
amazing.
can ever take that away from you guys. That's incredible. Ginormous.
actually, just listening to the story, I'm just as excited as you would have been, though.
That's
Honestly, I'm
nuts.
like, woo, that's so fun.
Yeah, and look, man, and I hope that I hope that that was just the first of many. One of the reasons why we wanted to have a chat with you guys is because we have this sort of connection with different music industries from all over the world, and we see the charts and we see how other industries operate all the time. And I genuinely think like the Filipino music industry has some of the best pool of talent in comparison to other parts of the world, not just in Asia, but even here in the West. What's interesting about the Philippines is that original work doesn't seem to break through as much as it should, right? Like abroad in the UK, in the US. And I think there are specific sounds and specific bands that have what would you call it? A higher likelihood to be the first to do those types of things, and that you guys are one of them. That's why now I'm even more interested in hearing this album, to see what sort of a new experimentation and different sounds and things perhaps that can be more commercial to foreign markets. It's gonna be really intriguing, because Lola Amour does become what I think it could become, which is tour worldwide, the US, the UK, and not just, obviously it's beautiful to have such a connection with the Philippines and Filipinos that are abroad, but I would love for my British friends to be going to concerts of Lola Amour. I would love for Lola Amour to be selling out, even if it starts with smaller venues here in London, but you're getting different markets and different audiences and demographics.
And I think that musically speaking, there's such a beautiful relatability to how you guys perform and what is behind the diversity of your songs, which I think it's the reason why we were so incredibly adamant to promote and be part of some of the progression that you have already done for yourselves.
I'll tell you this, guys, blatantly. Let's pretend we're not recording right now. There's a huge gap in the market, both in the US and in the UK, for live music. Live music has never sounded worse in the UK and in the US. Indeed. Most shows, if they're not band acts, usually band acts are quite strong here, but if they're not band acts, live performing is utter shit. And there is a market right now for live audiences that crave world-class musicians like yourselves.
And they don't care specifically where it comes from, what language is in, or
they don't give a damn.
As long as the product is really well done, which I think is what you guys have going on right now, then there is no boundaries, there's no limits for that.
Yeah, it's really interesting how in the East right now, in Asia, live music, I think culturally
is king.
Like you guys know the memes in the Philippines. Everyone apparently fucking sings, and the karaoke nights, and sa inuman sessions, and in Japan as well, karaoke is very big. China, obviously, you have India, which is as Southeast Asia is South Asia, ginormous markets for Bollywood and all this other singing stuff. So live music is like a priority. In the West, studio music is number one.
Singles and Spotify and whatever happened on TikTok. And I think it's kind of like taking some of the live music essence away.
So if you're a world-class musician and you're a world-class band, dude, like it just literally one of these songs that just hits, and then you have the Westerners out here dancing, and tickets will fly off the shelves.
Literally.
You know,
We've actually been we actually had inquiries also to be touring in the UK, US also. Right now, Japan, Indonesia, and Malaysia, they're also inviting us to be to perform in their festivals. But I
Good.
didn't know that we had potential there.
Totally, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's also really cool that the fact that you can broaden this sound to the point that it can reach so many people outside of the Philippines too. It's so advantageous for you guys.
Who would you say is like the deep thinker in the group, by the way? Not the yapper. Now we know who. Now we know. Apparently, Pio. That was coming from you. I wouldn't call you a yapper.
I think that would be me and David.
Okay.
Raymond also can be, but he's not here with us. So.
Okay, so
shout out Raymond, by the way.
Yeah.
Freaking love that guy.
Yeah, Bale's a big fan.
Love that guy.
We love him
So-
too.
We love him too.
Also, I love the new song, by the way. It just came out. Just a little parenthesis.
Yeah.
Namimiss ko na. Brilliant track, brilliant. I really liked it, and the concept of the lyrics absolutely hitting a spot made me want to cry, and I don't even speak Tagalog. So
Waleska,
shout out to you guys.
First thing she does is like, okay, English translation now.
How do I know what they're talking about? It's so good.
The question is, I think in every artist's career there comes a point, or in every journey there comes a point where you start to question why you're doing what you're doing, and you start to have to dig deep into finding your motivations and what will the next 5 years, the next 10 years look like. And I would love to know that from whoever would like to answer. What do you think are your motivations for creating, for being an artist? Because I think artists' minds and artists' personalities are quite peculiar, and I genuinely think that the way to kill the soul of a artist is by not letting them create. I think they need to. It's like it's a need. It's part of who they are. What do you think are your motivations, or the things that make you want to share your art and your work? And I'm sure, look, it's the industry, it's music, it's show business, it's difficult. It's not what everyone thinks it is. So what are your motivations towards making art and music?
I think it all changed for me when I realized that we are doing important work.
Right.
Like you never really hear anyone talk about making music that people dance to, like refer to their work as important work. But behind the scenes, you do get a lot of stories from fans, how you change their lives and how you get them to reconnect with people that they haven't been speaking to in a long time. And I'm a big believer in like how little things in the world change. Like I'm sure you guys can also think back to a specific memory that probably means nothing to someone, but it meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
So like little things like that. Like I think one thing that David told me before was, I asked him because like after a show, when he was new, after a show, like a lot of people ask to take pictures with us. Like that's the norm. So I asked him because David's very he loves his personal space.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I asked him, is this okay with you? Do you like this part of being in a band? And he goes like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's 20 seconds of your time and it makes someone so much
Yeah.
happier. So that's one of the things that keeps me going.
Yeah.
Aside from, like we love making music, the boring answer. But yeah, I think the deep answer is, like change the world in the way that you can. And then apparently, looking through my skill set, this might be the only way I can. For now.
Well, it's a damn good skill set, Pio. It's not. You're pretty good, dude.
Don't sell yourself short. This is going somewhere.
And I'm glad that you've noticed that, because I mean, I'm sure now that you guys are in that circle of other musicians and other artists, I'm pretty sure you guys have met the artists that are also, even if they've had the bunch of #1 successful album sales and all this stuff, sometimes they wonder whether what they do even has an impact.
Correct.
And then maybe they feel like, well, maybe I'm just a musician and that's my thing. So I'm glad you've realized that you're much more than that, lad.
Thanks.
David, you were gonna say something.
No, that was a really good answer by Theo. I think, yeah, but I will, mirror his sentiments that, it's such a small thing for us, but if it has such a big impact to someone else, why not keep doing what you do? Create more, and if it brings joy and it multiplies, like the happiness or like how people feel, then it must be something good. It must be something, you know, important. So you keep doing that, and I think everyone has their own motivations, but it's a great thing to see that it has such a big impact to other people.
I would love to hear personal motivations for both Zoe and Jeff if you guys would like to share them with us.
To be honest, for me, I'm just as surprised as you are because when we started out, it was really just a hobby.
Right.
Like for me and Pio, we just jam out with our old band with Raymond, and we just kept going. It was just a hobby. Basically, for me, Lola Amour is like a hobby gone wild. So like, I guess we just keep going. That's my motivation. I guess let's see where it goes. I hope
Right.
Okay.
it goes
Yeah,
even much more than what we reached. And
I remember.
hopefully,
Sorry,
Go ahead,
Zoe
go
and
ahead, go
Zoe and I were talking about like leaving our day jobs together,
Yeah.
and then like we were talking about like he was telling me like no do it man because he resigned already at that time, and I was like
Okay.
do it
Do it,
And I'm
man.
like what's gonna happen, man? I'm gonna be like 30 when or like 30 plus when like I have to look for a job again, and then he's like oh who cares? Who
It's
cares?
true.
The whole Philippines will understand why there's a gap in your resume, man. I mean, like stuff like that. It's just like I think for Zoe, he would never admit it to anyone like out loud, but he really loves guitar. Like
Oh,
even Raymond and I talk about it. Like that's how he describes Zoe. He loves his guitar. He loves playing guitar. He loves just like being in a band. So yeah, I don't think
And he's
there's
damn good at it.
yes,
Yeah.
damn good it is.
That
Yeah.
is.
Dude, I cannot imagine, bloody hell, what was going through your minds when it gets real. Because when you have to quit your job and then you're like, okay, bloody hell, I'm really gonna throw myself at this.
I have no safety net now. There's no backup plan.
Fuck, dude. What a moment that must have been.
I champion you all for taking the leap, though, because honestly, for those who have, because I think it's such a great, artistically speaking, it's such a liberating aspect of something that you do, that you take such a big leap of faith, but at the same time, you're throwing yourself open-heartedly to your art, and I think some of the best things come from there.
Scary though, wasn't it?
So scary.
Really scary, honestly. So scared right now.
You're gonna be fine, Pio. You're doing just
you're
fine.
killing it, dog. Jeffrey, what about you? What was if you'd like to share your motivations and
Maybe thoughts and ideas for the future.
I have to agree with Pio.
Mhm.
Having to please or like being such a big factor in other people's life is it's one of my motivations. But another one would be like okay, as a musician, I that's never been in a band back in high school, elementary. I've always wanted to be in one, and now that yeah, I entered
Oh,
2 years ago, I'm I'm able to like itching to make something new, and I've been itching to let's make a new song. I want to try out all these new lines. I want to try doing this kind of genre, and it's what's keeping me going. Like having to create something new and you know uh pleasing to the ear. Ish, yeah, more or less.
That's
fantastic.
really cool.
I think Jeff has a point there. Like I'll just expound on it. Jeff, you can really see, I guess, the fire in him when he's trying to write. That he wants to make something cool. He's never happy with what he always
right.
changes it if it's like to him. He always changes the stuff that he writes. But going back to Raining in Manila, the slowdown stuff like that, the slowdown in the song that was partly Jeff's idea, and then like all his experimentation, if you think about it, it kind of changes the music scene.
Mm.
Like
Of
let
course.
me expound. Like when we were writing the song, when we recorded it and mastered it, we were being told by some people that it might not chart, it might not hit because here are some red flags. Number one, your intro is so long. Number two,
Yes.
it's more than 4 minutes long. It's almost five.
Almost
And
5.
then, and then it has a 1 minute more, a 1 minute plus instrumental.
Yeah.
So you're being told that, okay, you can still release this. You're free to do it if you want, but it's, just warning you that this might hurt the chances of it hitting. But it didn't. It actually became the strength of the song. And it's thanks to like those little moments, like Jeff like being very hard on himself also, and then David also, like being hard on everyone.
It was Jeffrey being super exhausted.
For more context, when they're recording in the studio, I'm always in the booth and I'm
Yes.
keeping things on track
Yeah.
and making sure it's a good take and like taking note which is the good take, because later on I'll be putting it all together.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to be, tough love. And
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Of course.
sometimes, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, sometimes he goes, okay, that was ass. Take it again.
But you know what? I think
No. I never say something just ass. I just say I always like it has to be constructive criticism. So it
Yes.
has to
Of
be
course.
specific. This rhythm is not working out. We have to fix this again. It's not like this is shit.
But
It has to have, steps to fix the problem.
Of
To be
course,
fair,
of course.
I'm gonna
David-
defend myself.
Nah, don't worry.
No, don't. To be honest, I think a lot of people don't have an idea of actually how high intensity and high pressure it is to record a single or an album. And for those who have been in a studio before for a full band experience, it's a completely different experience to having to be a singer, a soloist that goes into the studio, records their section, and the rest is done by whoever is done by. But when you're working with a band, you actually need such cohesive and open communication, and I think it's actually pretty cool that we get to hear some of those anecdotes straight from you guys, because
that's why I think like this whole process of recording your album, mate.
it's so cool.
Yeah, I think I hope you guys have a ton of footage and kind of like
Yes.
maybe I hope we get like some of the behind the scenes.
Like a docu-series of the whole album making, that
Because-
would be so dope.
Album recordings for bands are. I don't know if I'm just a music fan or whatever, because I play the drums a lot. I rate Raffi a ton. Shout
out Raffi.
I like him a ton. I feel like that content of seeing how all of your brains would work, and the criticism, what worked, what didn't, the high tension environments, the relief. It's perfect, mate. Like it's like a movie. Like,
I
making
just
an album
love
is
that
like a movie.
stuff.
I wish there was, but it's
no.
like, most of our videos from the recording days are
All the
usually
stupid shit.
stupid things. Like we have like in one of the songs, in the song you listen to, Namimiss Ko Na, there's a part where it sounds like ladies and like deep voiced boys like singing battles.
Yeah,
But it's all just them falsettoing and then
you're
doing
all
like
doing this.
singing, dancing.
Yeah.
See, that's the content I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Aside from that, we had some questions sent over by your fans. Let's give them a shot. I'd love to hear from more members for these questions. They're fairly easy. They're like, imagine this is like a lightning round or whatever. One of them was your guilty pleasures OPM. Like the song that's a guilty pleasure OPM that you listen to.
It's weird because I don't feel guilty.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty.
I don't feel guilty at all.
It's just pleasure. It's just pleasure.
Okay, fine. Then
We'll say your pleasure OPM. It could be old, it could be new.
OPM. I guess for me, Gary V. He always plays like really
Shit.
dancey. Nothing like you can always dance to his music, no
Yes.
matter what he releases. Gary V for me.
This one's like sort of guilty pleasure. It's also Gary V, but it's the religious songs. that he's-
Oh, nice.
Yes, of course,
Dude.
because you did choir, right?
yeah, because he does it so well. It's like
I agree. I freaking love that man.
He's got banger worship music.
He
Like
does.
he's got banging worship music, genuinely.
Shout out Jesus. Do you have a specific song, David?
Or Pio, whoever wishes.
what's it called? The warrior is a child.
Yes! Oh my god, it's a banger of a track.
Mine is from Gary V. Mine would be Could You Be Messiah?
Could you be Messiah to me?
Guilty pleasure would probably be like Christmas OPM songs, like the one they play on commercials.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
CBN, like,
ABS,
yeah.
Big bang.
They're so good.
Yeah,
we check them
yeah.
out every year.
Fun fact: we worked in television since we were children.
Yes.
And in Venezuelan television, and in Venezuela they do the same thing that they do in the Philippines, where every year they do a Christmas song for the TV network that you're working in, and they get some of the best singers of the country to sing the song and stuff. And I remember I literally every year, because we did it, at that point I did it since I was like 5 to like 11 years old, and every damn year, my favorite bit of the year was finding out who was gonna sing the Christmas song.
Yeah.
And because it was the best. And I am so happy that the Philippines also has this, because it genuinely, they make bangers.
Literally.
And the last one we have from the past, an OPM band that you guys really liked. It could be someone that's also active right now, but the Philippines has had so many great bands over the last 40 years.
For me, I really like Franco, if you guys are familiar. It's
Yeah.
just like really, really good arrangement. They make really heavy music, but they somehow incorporate reggae into some of their songs. So it's like a
Nice.
good fusion of like reggae and like really heavy rock. It's I love it.
Surfer metal.
Yes.
For me, it's Apple Hiking Society.
Oh, Apple Hiking
Yeah.
Society. Wow.
Freud, you like the classics.
Songwriting is so good, and then they always
agree.
like add like weird instruments, so it's like, damn, these guys are good.
Mine would be Brown Man Revival.
Oh, it's the first time.
They're-
First, yeah.
Yeah, they're like a reggae-ish band, but then the reason why I like them is, well, reggae, and they're one of the earlier bands that incorporated horns
Horns.
in their
Oh, okay, cool.
in their setups. So that's why I was like, oh, that's where I get some of my inspiration from when I'm writing.
I have two.
Oh.
So the first one is Radioactive Sago Project. And then the second one is, this one I think might be a guilty pleasure. Sorry to go back to the last question.
Don't worry.
Hagibis. It's guilty because they sound really good, really groovy, like you really want to dance when you listen to their songs. But they were a product of their time, a less progressive time, and their lyrics are all about like girls are sexy, bodies, like, show me your legs. It's like that. It's hard to ignore the lyrics. They literally have a song. They have a song called Legs. It's about seeing legs in a club. It's
Hey, yo, what the?
As you do.
I went to film school, and then we would have like lectures about like, can you appreciate the art even if the topics are like that? They are already like something that you have to talk about in college. Like it's a
Right,
think
right.
piece, like their songs.
You know, it's weird. You said like, they have a song called Legs. Mate, in Latin America, like in South America where we're from, every song is about fucking legs. Every song is about legs, ass,
Ladies,
ladies. And it's like, and dude, it's wild because, for example, like, is it Bad Bunny or J Balvin?
Both?
One of them got awarded for Poet of the Year in like
Bad Bunny.
2022.
Dude.
And all he did was talk about boobies and
Yeah,
booty
so-
the whole time.
So you're way advanced. You're way more, way ahead of us. Way ahead of us. That's basically it, guys. I mean, I could talk to you guys for 3 hours, but
Literally.
I know you've been doing a ton of press. I would love for you guys to sort of share with the audience when the album will be coming out, and if there's anything else you'd like to promote, this will be a perfect time.
The album will be coming out, our first album ever after 8 years. It's a self-titled album. It's called Lola Amour. It's gonna be coming out on April 10. And then for those who are gonna be in the Philippines around that time, we are going to be having an album launch. It's our first big concert with like a full production. We're gonna be performing like an hour and a half set. Lights, all the lights, all the visuals, the pyrotechnics, and everything. It's our first. So yes, hope to see you guys there. Oh, sorry, that's on April 13. We're gonna be launching it on
Yes,
April
very good.
in the center. The most
Good eye,
important
David.
detail.
Venue.
It's gonna be in Circuit Makati. Circuit Makati Open Grounds on April 13th. See you guys there.
Okay.
Okay,
Very nice.
cool. Tickets on sales now and get ready because Lola Amour is dropping a brand new album.
Oh my gosh, very very exciting, guys. Once again, an absolute honor, an absolute pleasure. Like I said, I could probably, I think we could all sit down and talk for hours, and I hope one time we could do this in person. I'd love to either bring you guys to London or we go over there to the Philippines, because that's been overdue for quite a long time.
Definitely.
We haven't been, and I'd love to see the music scene right there in person. But to a very bright future, and I hope to the day that you guys get to tour worldwide, and I get to tell you, Pio, I told you. I told you guys will be touring worldwide and selling out tickets for different demographics and all over the world. But thank you so much. It means a ton.
And to everybody watching, thank you very much. This was Lola Amour.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.